on, everybody? Back for another edition of the Coach's Corner. Oh, it's week 3, week 4. I don't know anymore. I just don't know where I'm in the standings anymore when it comes to pick 'em. I'm just assuming that I may be in second, maybe third. Dennis Silva's probably winning it all. I know I got C King over Ridgepoint last week. I got that one. 2-point victory.
I tell you this, I know on social media when I pick them wrong. So, or like,
They're quick. They're quick. They take those screenshots.
Yes.
They take those screenshots. They're like click. I'm like, man, but the good thing is they're watching the show.
I was just about to say that.
That is the good thing. That means
watching it. I appreciate you.
Haters
gonna hate, man. Haters gonna hate. So.
I appreciate the love. Hey, Westfield winning a big one against North Shore last week.
Super fired up for Coach
21.
Coach Hill, yeah, super fired up for them guys, man. That's a big win. Anytime you could beat a team like North Shore, it's like when you beat the Marshall Buffaloes, man. It just doesn't happen. So like when it does happen, you're like, man, So super guys.
Can we talk about real quick, because we all probably saw the video, Coach Meekins dancing in the locker room afterwards? That was pretty. If you haven't seen it, we retweeted it to VYPE Houston. You have to scroll through. It's some pretty. I'll have to talk to him about his dance moves. It's pretty good. He's pretty hype.
He said his coach is back a few years. Huh?
Yeah. Sometimes coaches shouldn't dance. just jump up and down.
That's pretty much what he was doing. He was just going in a circle. He was just kind of hopping up and down, going in a circle. It was great. The guys were fired up. Big win by Westfield last week for them. Bridgeland holds off the Woodlands in a late run. So exciting stuff going on. But we're here to talk about all things Foster football and Fort Bend Marshall football, of course, in this coaches show. And coaches, I'll start with this. It's something I thought about over the weekend. We know that each of you have your own style of offense, right? You have your own style of offense. You have your own style of defense. You like to run things a certain way. But with high school, you don't get the same guys all the time. You don't have a Malik Hornsby all the time. You don't have a Devon Chain all the time. You don't have a Ruben Fathery up front. You don't have those guys. Do you have a base offense and then you adjust to the talent that you have and change things? And how adaptive do you have to be year in and year out as you get different talent, from year to year?
Go ahead, Coach.
I think you have to have a base philosophy. And Sean's an offense guy. He should answer the question first, because I'm more of a defensive guy. But you have to have that base philosophy. I have my base beliefs. And, I hired a new offensive coordinator this year who was actually on my staff before but came up. And, the philosophy doesn't change. You have to have that value of what you think wins football games. And I've said since day one, winning football games in the playoffs is most important. So how do you win games in December? How do you win games in the cold weather or when you play those better teams? Is you got to play physical football. You got to be able to control a line of scrimmage. You have to have a run game. You throwing the ball. I always say all the time, a lot of teams now are spreading it out and trying to throw a ball and get it out wide and things like that. And that's great. But you also have to be able to run the ball when you want to run the ball. And you have to be physical. And I think that sets the whole mindset of your team. Because in practice, if you have a physical offense, you have physical practice. Defense got to be physical. And, so I think it all ties into having that mentality. So that way when you can, put players here and there, the philosophy doesn't change. The play may necessarily change, the formations may change, but the philosophy is there of what you're trying to get accomplished. And you may change the formation, you may change the athlete there, but you're still trying to accomplish the same overall concept. And Sean, I'll tell you, probably number one goal for us and most everybody is protect the football. If you can protect the football and then be physical and run the football, I think you'll win more games you can lose.
Yeah, I believe that you have to have a philosophy. You got to believe in something, right, or you'll fall for anything, right? I mean, you don't want to grab back things. So, I'm a spread offensive guy, and you have to evolve. I'm not going to sit here and bang my head against the wall because we can't do something or these kids, we're really good at something. I think that's the fun part of coaching is that you believe in something and you try to fit it to kids, but then you also got to evolve and you have to change what your kids do well, right? I mean, you can't sit here and just say, hey, we're only going to do this. But you do have to have a base package and believe in something you're going to do. And it all starts and I think that evaluation process starts in January. We're in the fourth quarter of our season we've talked about, but through, all season and spring football, 7-on-7 in summer, you're trying to figure out what the kids do well and you just do it from there. It's not a square peg round hole kind of deal. It's like, hey, well, I got to fit these pieces to be able to make sure and find the best 11. But every team is different, every year is different, and everybody has different talents, and coaches and kids come and go. So it's just a constant battle to find out what we're going to do and keep evaluating.
Yeah, and I know Coach Williams mentioned he had to get a new offensive coordinator this year. Coach Williams, former OG Fagan, getting a win over in Cy Springs, first head coaching win for him. I think that came this past week.
Last week, the week before.
Last week, okay, week before. Okay, so I'm off by a week, but still, OG Fagan, how about that? First win as a head coach. Did you call him or anything or text him?
Absolutely.
I know you probably follow with him.
Yeah, we talk weekly, and always we text each other the day of the game. It's exciting. They were in a very similar situation we were at Marshall when we first got here. That previous years they had only won maybe 1 or 2 games last couple of years, and he's coming around and trying to rebuild that program from the ground up. And he's got the philosophy of chop is their word and their battle cry, and very, very exciting to see him get that win. I told him it took me 6 games to get my first win. He got his in the second game. So very proud of him and his coaching staff and his kids. And he has so much support from the administration around him and the environment, the culture. I mean, everything is very excited for what they're going to do for that program. And I'm very excited. He's a very good coach, and he's very much responsible for a lot of the success we had here at Marshall. So he's going to be successful over there. I guarantee that.
All right, I'll turn it over to Dennis Silva now. I know I kind of taken Dennis Silva's thunder here, but Mr. Silva, the floor is yours now.
Appreciate it. Well, I want to go off Josh's first question a little bit when you talk about philosophy. So when you all get a job, like Sean, when you landed at Foster, and James, when you landed at Marshall, do you look at the type of athlete you get and the demographics and the type of the population and then formulate your a philosophy off what you're going to get on a consistent basis? Or do you still do what you do and try to find those kids? How does that work? Because obviously different sectors of Houston are different with the type of kids they get, a school may get, and the type of athlete. So I've always been curious, do coaches come in with a philosophy and I'm going to find those athletes no matter what? Or did they come in okay, these are the type of kids I'm getting, this is the type of athlete I'm getting, so this is what I know we need to do to win?
I think it's both. And the reason I'm telling you that is because, when I got to Foster, they'd been some spread teams, and I've been a spread guy since I was at Cy Creek from 2007 on. It's kind of where I cut my teeth with Coach McKay at Cy Creek. So that was what I know. That's what I'm the expert on, and that's probably sort of the reason why I got the job, right? But I'm also that's the most success I've had in my career doing what we do offensively, right? And so when I got to Foster, I'm like, okay, I see some pieces where it could fit, right? But I can tell you, the first practice we had, I was looking at all the coaches and stuff, being like, man, we're about to be in the wing tee tomorrow, because I can't watch any more drop balls. I can't, it's woo, there's a process to it. But you can't go in there saying we're gonna do this. You can't go in there saying that that this guy's gonna be that guy, because you have to give them an opportunity to coach him, and they have to become the expert. So I think as coaches, we want to run our system, and we want to do the things that we're used to doing, and we are the experts of it. But again, if you're sitting there going to bang your head against the wall and be like, hey, this is what we're going to do by God, and there's a chance you ain't going to be very good at it. So you have to do what your kids are good at, bottom line. And if you're not doing that, maybe you need to look at, because the one thing I never want to be is a dinosaur. And what I mean by that, I don't want to ever stop growing. I don't ever want to stop evaluating. I don't ever stop learning. And learning my kids and learning what makes my kids successful, but also learning what makes me successful to be able to teach my kids as a coach, because it ain't about what I know or what Coach Williams knows or anybody knows. It's about what they know. So what can I teach? Right. And so that's the big thing. And I can promise you this, if I was ever fortunate to be the head coach at Katy High School, I'm not going to change too much. You know what I mean? So that probably won't ever happen, but you see what I'm getting at? Yeah, you got to be smart on it. I think you do what you believe in, and then you adapt and you overcome, because we don't recruit to our system. We give who we get, so it's a constant. You have your belief, but then you just work around it, So that's my thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as that. You come with a philosophy. Coming up as we've come in the coaching business, you pick things from this coach or pick things from that system or pick things from your experiences to formulate your own plan. So we go into be a head coach, we'll say, hey, this is my plan on offense I want to run, this is my plan on defense I want to run. And then once you get that philosophy down, you go in and you adapt to the players and what you have to do it with. It's very true. Your system has to be sound. you have to have some creativity. You know, you have to have, you know, like again, here at Marshall High School, we're going to be physical on both sides of the ball. We're going to control a line of scrimmage. But outside of that, the Jims and Joes definitely, they help, you know, and as a coach, you have to get the ball to your players, especially in critical situations, you know, and if the game's on the line, you best believe a couple years ago, you know, Devon Achane was going to have the ball in his hands. You know, if we're not doing that, then you're fooling yourself. You know what I'm saying? The system is good, but the players are really what makes it, you know, go, and that's across the board. So we have our base philosophy, but yes, we do adjust and adapt to the kids. You know, we do have 1 year you may have more of a running quarterback than the throwers. You may want to adapt to some more quarterback runs. You know, but you still have the physical mentality. Whereas you may have a pocket passer who we had last year. We had a young man named Roland who was more of a pocket passer, but not a thrower. So we had to adapt more and use less of our quarterback run game with him and get the ball around. So it's just, you know, you have that philosophy, but you got to adapt year in and year out. And don't be stubborn as a coach. Sometimes people want to be stubborn and say, no, the system is going to win. The system is going to win. Well, you're jamming that square peg in that round hole. It's not going to go too well. You know, you have to be adaptive. You have to be able to adapt to your players and get the best out of them. And like I said, in critical situations, your best players should have the ball in their hands.
Yeah, and make hard decisions as a coach and as for yourself and for players sometimes could be all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. District play started last week. I know Coach McDowell, you guys had a tough loss to Pato. Coach Williams, you all had a good win over Galena Park. I wanted to get your evaluation of your team after that first district game and your expectations and what you want to see improved or what you liked going into the second district game later this week.
Yeah, I'll take this one first then. We knew the Pato Panthers were going to be a formidable opponent. They're very, very good. I mean, they get all the accolades and stuff. They're good as they can be. I mean, it's almost a flip from the year before. We were an older, experienced team, ready for big games, been in big games. They were young, up and coming. And now we have almost flipped the script where we're the younger team and they're kind of battle tested. And it showed early. We didn't play well. You know, our inability to run the football right now, like Coach Williams said, is like, I'm surprised I have hair right now and that my beard is not like fully gray. Because it is like, I can't even go to sleep without like run the football. So our next opponents, I'm telling you, we're going to try to run the daggone football. You know, and so, yeah, I'm banging my head on that one because, you know, we can throw it around the yard. We can catch it sometimes, you know, and, you know, so that's a major concern for us right now and for me. Defensively, man, if we make you earn it, we have a chance. And when Patel had to earn it, you know, they ended up punting sometimes. But man, when we give up the big play, we give it up. I mean, it is like we didn't even in a two-hand touch game. I don't think we even touched them. I don't think we got them on a two-hand touch sometimes. And not taking away anything from Patel because they did a great job.
Yeah.
And they ran it down our throat and it really held us kind of down on offense. They did a great job defensively, so they played a great game. We did, but a lot of the stuff we did killed ourselves. So we would have had to play lights out to beat them. But 30-14 might be a little bit uglier if they, you know, don't fumble in the end zone there. But we got a lot of growing up to do. We got to get healthy, pretty physically, but emotionally and mentally too, because you know we're not at a spot we're used to being. You know, the most games we've lost. You know, in 3 games, we lost 2 out of 3 games. That ain't a good feeling, you know, and that's a new feeling for us and for coaches and kids. So, you know, like I said, we don't panic. And that's calm is contagious. Give me, you know what I'm saying? Like staying calm. Right. So that's what we're doing. But we're going back to work and this storm ain't helping, right? I can promise you that. But, you know, I think we got a lot growing up to do. We got a lot of, continue to just keep working hard and staying positive.
Yeah, that's one thing, you know, about coaching. You know, you got things going and rolling at times, but there's other times where you're going to, you know, have to, you know, face some adversity. And, you know, I've been there where Sean's at right now, and you just got to figure it out. You know, you got to get better every week and figure out how to make that team better and how to improve and how to figure out how to run the ball, like you're saying. You know, you got to get that done. And I know they will. You know, Sean's and I joke about it all the time. You know, he's the second best coach to Gary Joseph, but in the state.
like the 300th best coach in the nation.
No, but Sean has a quality program, and those guys get it figured out. No doubt about that. You know, but for us last week, we played a Galena Park football team that they did a good job. They had a really good game plan. They're running the option now. They're running that, you don't get them off the field, it runs that clock. They had a good plan, and they ran the clock very well. And I think first half score was, I want to say 35-7 going into halftime. So we felt decent, but we weren't playing discipline like we wanted to play. As one of our foundations of our program is character, discipline, and hard work. This was that number 2 thing, and we weren't playing with very disciplined defense last week and gave up some plays that if we had just done our job and kept your eyes where they're supposed to be, you'll be in position to make those plays. And things got going kind of fast with some guys and some new guys in there. And so we ended up giving up 21 points and, definitely not happy about that. But we give credit to the Galena Park. They had a good game plan, did a good job. And us, we have some improving to do. Defensively, we've been missing some guys. We haven't had our full defense together the entire season yet because of injuries or because of COVID. So, we're still looking to get our guys back together. But, hey, that's no excuse. Whoever's in there has got to execute, got to do the game plan, do your job, and that's what we expect. So, we got room to go, and we got some improvement to do, and that's why we're looking forward to this week and get some good practices in, good on good, Marshall versus Marshall. I mean, those are our best practices. Forget the scout team, forget the scout cards. It's Marshall Black versus Marshall Gold, and let's go, line up and go. And these guys, they're such competitors. They're such competitors. So those practices are exciting. They're intense, and those guys get after it so we can get better. So hopefully we get on the field on Wednesday. We're out of school the rest of the day today and all day tomorrow, and we're looking forward to getting on the field Wednesday and really getting better because we got to get better throughout this season through our practices. We got to get throughout the week and get better going towards the playoffs.
My last question is, I'm sorry, did I interrupt anyone? Okay. My last question is, we mentioned the weather, Tropical Storm Nicholas is coming. We're filming this on a Monday. This will come out Wednesday. Campuses are closed Tuesday, let out early Monday. And I want to get into just how that affects your preparation for a game, how that affects like the detail and losing that time as y'all guys still have a district game scheduled to be played later this week. Can you talk us through like what inclement weather can do, like especially this week and even going through Harvey and in the past situations, how that affects preparation and like how that might affect the game and just the domino effect that can have when you lose time like this during the season?
Well, it can definitely affect your preparation, but the good thing about it is it affects both teams. It's not just one of us. We're all in the same situation. And, I definitely put a positive out of this is this week is eligibility check for us. So, this weekend, UIL grade check. So it's an opportunity for our guys to, be at home, finish any work they need to finish up, study for any tests they have during the end of the week, and really try to get ahead academically to make sure that you're going to be good to go for the weekend. And, again, we tell them we're not just here to be eligible. We want to have grades that we can put on your transcript that's going to be good enough for you to get in college with. But, we're going to look for the silver lining in this, and that is an opportunity for them to take care of their academics today and tomorrow. But if anything, it's going to make them hungry to get back on that field on Wednesday. The guys, they were actually disappointed today that we couldn't practice.
Yeah.
Some of them want to grab their cleats out so they can work out on their own, or they can work out, at home. Go ahead, get in the rain and work. Just don't get swept up any floods. But you want them to always have to do extra work. You always want to calm them down, but whether to pick them up. So
yeah,
it affects everybody. We'll make up for it. We don't panic about anything. We'll be okay, and we'll just keep trying to get better.
Yeah, we so our plan right now. So we actually we're able to meet with our guys because we're still in school. So we were able to do that, and then we, finish out Payto and then get to the mental side of it. So really the next 2 days are going to be the mental side of it. Knowing what their formations are, knowing what their blitzes are, knowing what they do on third downs and stuff of that nature, stuff that gets us mentally prepared. We won't be able to get out on the field today or tomorrow, but we can definitely get on there mentally. So we got the position coaches will be getting with them. They'll be watching film on Huddle. We're going to try to prepare mentally, and then our plan would be to get ready for what Wednesday looks like, what the athletic period looks like, and then what the after school looks like. Because in my mind, we ain't practice not today or tomorrow, so we got a good 8 hours between when we don't play till Saturday. So that also helps us beneficially as well. So that gives us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to really kind of put it together. So I'm not overly worried. I'm actually kind of welcoming the break a little bit because I feel like we needed to get our guys, they still want to do it. Like Coach Williams said, his guys still want, the notice went out that we're not having school the rest of the day and not tomorrow. They were like, we still haven't practiced, because they know Falcons fly in the rain. Just the lightning is the only thing that kills us. So they better ask because it's a yes, and this time it's a no because it's not my deal. So they just need to be safe and know that it's always bigger than football. We don't know what's coming, but we've been there before, and I promise you, and when it goes by, we're gonna start football up again, hopefully on Wednesday. So.
Yep.
Well, perfect. Yeah, hopefully this weather. I know everybody's racing to the stores. As we said, this is a Monday. Everyone's going and buying bulk and water bottles and toilet paper and stuff. I know Silva's probably making his Costco run this afternoon. Going to load up the car for the Silva household. He's gonna be ready to rock and roll.
Sure.
All right, so we get to the pick'ems. I don't know what the standings are coming this week. I know going to last week, I think Silva was leading the group at 8-2 on the year. I think that Fulsher game put him over the top on that. So, but we'll go into the pick'em this week, and Josh W is doing a good job of producing this and keeping the records. He needs to tell me what the records are before we record this, so I know who's in first place. We have to wait until Wednesday. I don't know until Wednesday who's in first place. But we'll start with this game. The Woodlands at Katy. I think it's at Katy. Silva will know the answer to this.
Yeah, Katy on Thursday.
Okay, yeah, so the Woodlands has preferred. That should be an interesting one. Short week potentially for those teams as they get ready for that. Woodlands coming off a very close loss to Bridgeland. Katy squeaking past Dickinson 28-21. I mean, he's already wearing Katy red, so we'll start with Dennis Silva here on the pickup.
I always get something. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Katy. They still have some injuries to deal with. Bobby Taylor in the secondary is out, and Nick Anderson at receiver is out. And I think the running back Seth Davis went out for a little bit, then came back to finish that game against Dickinson. So they're dealing with a little injuries, which I'm sure a lot of teams are right now. But I just think Katy's going to get this one. The Woodlands have been impressive, I guess, but there's been some games that are closer than I thought they'd be with the Woodlands. I thought they'd maybe pull away, separate themselves a little bit as one of the elite teams in the Houston area, and they haven't done that yet. So it doesn't mean they won't. But I'm gonna go with Katy.
I guess I'll go next. I'll take Katy as well. I'm going to use the elements. I'm going to talk about the weather. It's still supposed to be wet, towards the end of the week. And, with the Katy's run game, they're used to it. It's what they do. Willis is more of a throwing end of it. And so, coming off of a close loss versus a very good Dixon team last week, they're battle tested and they're ready to go versus Katy. But I think Katy has their number and play physical football and do what they do best, run the football and possible rainy weather.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Katy as well. Not taking anything away from the Woodlands. I think they're a good football team, but I think Katy, it's next man up over there. You're saying you got a lot of injuries, and I like to hear your insider information on that because I have no idea, right? So I like you going first because that dissuades my, you got insider trading, Katy's been battle tested. The first 2 or 3 games have been really tough on them, but they've been able to overcome. Woodlands tough loss to Bridgeland, how they handle it this week, plus coming off mentally. I think Katy's a tough out. I'm gonna go with Katy.
Yeah, the Woodlands coming off that close loss to Bridgeland last week, and I think the weather factor could be a big thing here, especially when the Woodlands, you do lean on maybe Matower to throw the ball. I mean, you can be as strong as you want, but throwing the ball through the rain and guys catching it is a whole different deal. So I'm gonna go with the Katy Tigers on this one. I was thinking for a minute maybe the Woodlands, but I was like, that's a different beast walking into Katy Stadium and playing and seeing all those Katy flags and the cars and everything out there, and then the Katy big red band marching in. So I'm gonna go Katy. So it's a clean sweep for Katy across the board. So if the Woodlands wins, we all lose on that one. Next one is interesting. Clear Falls Cinco Ranch makes the trip to Clear Falls, a battle of 3-0 teams this week. Clear Falls had a historic big run last year in the playoffs. Cinco Ranch kind of re-emerging now in Katy ISD. So let's give you that one. Cinco Ranch is at Clear Falls. They have to take the trip down the Beltway over to Clear Falls.
I'll go with Clear Falls on this one. I like what Coach Head and them guys are doing down there. I think they're spreading it out. And hey, hats off to Cinco, what they've been able to do this year. I mean, what a turnaround! Pretty awesome, Coach Dudley and them. I think the trip down there and the weather and all that kind of stuff, and I think Clear Falls playing at their house probably gives them a little bit of slight edge. So I'm gonna go with Clear Falls.
I think I also go with Clear Falls as well. You know, again, I think coming off of last year's playoff run was still momentum can continue to roll that way. And Cinco Ranch, you know, they're trying to build it again. They were once there, we're trying to build it again. But you know, Clear Falls is doing both of them are doing a great job right now. Like you said, both of them 3-0. But you know, we'll go with the experience of Clear Falls over this one to take.
I'll go Clear Falls as well. I know Cinco Ranch is without either the number 1 or number 2 receiver, and he's pretty Noah, but I think he's either 1 or 2. Him and Severino go back and forth. But Cinco Ranch also has more of a run game this year, which they didn't have at all last year. So they had to, if they weren't passing well, they were going to lose. I do like the fact that Sam McDowell is giving them a little bit more in the run game, so that gives them a little bit more of a different dynamic, and I think that's why they've been more consistent, because they can run the ball. Especially last week, they ran the ball really well. But Clear Falls, I like their experience. Great run last season, obviously, and I think they're using that momentum, and they've built something there that they're really probably looking for another strong postseason run this year. Cinco Ranch, I think this is the first loss of the season, but I think it's going to be a good test because I want to see how they play. I think this is really Cinco Ranch's probably first true test of the year, if you want to say college, unless you want to say College Park in the season opener. But this is going to be a good gauge just to see where Cinco Ranch is.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they, like you said, they do have to make the trip down there. They're 3-0 on the year. The defense has allowed 43 points. They've scored 103 points. I mean, their wins have come against College Park, Aldine Davis, and then Brazoswood. So I agree with you that this is their first big test before. I mean, really, this is a huge game for Cinco Ranch because you're going to get this big test before you open district play against Tompkins.
Yeah.
That's a tough team to open district play. So these are 2 critical weeks for Cinco Ranch. But you know what? I'm going to go with the Cougars. I think Cinco Ranch is going to go in there. I think they're going to beat Clear Falls. I think they'll go to 4-0. I think it just seems like they have the momentum this year. They put it back together. You know, Gavin Rutherford at quarterback has played pretty well. He hasn't turned the ball over, which has been good. Yeah. You know, or at least through the one game that they have on Max Preps. They have 2 other games that they haven't reported yet. So they might have turned the ball over. But I'm going to go Cinco Ranch. They go win this game, and then we will see what they do against Big Bad Katie Tompkins next week. And, of course, that might be a pick-em for next week if Cinco Ranch wins that game. Next game, we're going to go up to the DFW area. I got lucky. I had to try to go with them again. Atascocita goes on the road again up to Denton Geyer on their just murderer row of preseason games that Craig Stump set up for his team. They're 3-0 in the season. They've looked really good. Atascocita, do they go up in the DFW area and beat another DFW power and bring another one home for H-Town?
Yes. I'm not betting against the Eagles again.
Yeah.
H-Town, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not the smartest guy, but I know not to make the same mistake twice. So I'm taking Atascocita on this. I'm all high on their train right now. I know Dan Geyer's going to be tough and they're going to bring it. But I really feel like this might be Atascocita's opportunity to really prove to the state that they're not playing around. I think the Houston area is always known, but I think Atascocita is going to bring it. So I'm taking H-Town all the way, Atascocita.
I'm going to agree with you, Sean. I think it's going to be Atascocita all the way. Again, the way they're playing this year, they're really putting things together this year. The way they played against Allen was impressive. First time Allen's had a loss at their home stadium ever, and it was a decisive win. Even after being down in the game early on, Atascocita played very, very well. I expect them to take a very good Denton team this week and pull out a win. I wish I could give more specifics about Denton, but I know for sure what Atascocita has. They're looking to make a big run this year and a big push to get to that state championship. So I'll definitely go with Atascocita.
Yeah, I'm going with Atascocita as well. I just think what they showed against Allen, it's really hard to go against them at this point. They proved themselves. I mean, and when you're going up with the travel, they're going back up there again. They proved they can win on the road and go through what they had to go through as far as going all the way up there. First to Allen and then to Denton. I just think they've proved, until otherwise, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because that was a huge win and it's an eye-opening win, signature win, program win, and pretty impressive at what Atascocita is doing. Yeah,
I'm going to make this really quick. Atascocita, they've got Gavin Session. He's looked really good. They win this game. I mean, they're playing.
Really
so,
all there is to it. Yeah.
They're playing so well right now in all facets of the game. The wide receivers are playing really well. He's got so many weapons. Running back, the defense has played well, and you know, Denton Geyer on their side. I mean, they've played some people, but it hasn't been like what Atascocita's schedule has been. I mean, they don't have Allen on there. They beat Denton Ryan by a touchdown 2 weeks ago, which is kind of interesting. They beat Hebron to open the season. They crushed Lake Ridge last week. So I think this could be maybe the biggest test for Denton Geyer up to this point, and this could be a real measuring stick for them. And if Atascocita goes in there and just rough shops them, then we know, man, Atascocita is really for real here in 2021 at 4-0, coming off that just ridiculous non-district schedule.
And I think that can really happen. I really think they can give them a good game. I really do.
Yeah.
Sure. Last two games, Dobie against Dickinson. Dickinson is kind of taking it on the chin a couple games. They've lost 2 games in the season, 1 and 2. But Dobie has been playing really good football. Let's go with that one, Dobie versus Dickinson.
Ooh. It is. I know this. Dobie, man, what they do offensively, they've been playing some really good ball.
Yes.
No doubt about it. I think Coach, all them guys have been doing a great job, man. They reached somebody like 63-9. Who was that? Like this past week or something like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick my boys, the Dickinson Gators down there with Coach Nelson and them. I got a feeling they're gonna turn around on this one. He's gonna have a plan. They're gonna get after it, and so I'm really liking the Dickinson Gators on this one.
It's tough. I'm sorry. I'm still thinking that's a tough one. I'm so impressed with Dobie. I mean, they are coming on. They're getting better every year. I think they're undefeated right now. Again, they're playing some very good football right now. Like you said, yes, they just blew out someone last weekend, and really almost every weekend this season so far. You know, Dickinson coming off that game against Katy, you know, there's no more battle tested than playing Katy. You know, the issue is maybe are you licking your wounds a little bit? You know, is everybody still healthy from coming off of these games? Dickinson's had a pretty good schedule as well coming into the game. So, where's the game being played at, by the way? You know?
I think it's at Dickinson. Let me go look real quick. I think it's let's see if I can remember what district Dickinson is in for half a second. Oh yeah, it's at Dickinson. It's in the swamp. So this is a trip. This is a trip for Pasadena for Dobie to go over there.
I think that'll make a difference. I really do think that'll make a difference. I'm gonna go with Dickinson as well. I think like they come off of Katy, it's a close game. They should feel better. You know, of course you're not happy about the win, but you also feel better that you can play with one of the best teams in the state. So I think that they'll take it over Dobie. Dobie's gonna give them a great fight. I think it's gonna be a great game. One I wish I could watch. You know, because I'm very proud and impressed with what Dobie's doing right now. But we'll give it to Dickinson in the swamp.
Yeah, I'll go with Dickinson as well. This should be one of the better games this week, actually, compared to what I've seen as far as the rest of the slate. But very close against Katy. I mean, you're talking about they were close to going to overtime. Katy scores in the last minutes, and then they played Ridgepoint really well too. So that's 2 really close games that I'm sure they're looking at like could have easily been wins against elite teams. I think this is one of those games where they kind of release probably the frustration of being close games and losing them and showing what they do and just all that they've learned and grown up for from the last 2 weeks. I think this is the game where they show that they kind of put it all together, and I'm going to go with Dickinson.
So everybody going with the Dickinson Gators. Well, here's a stat for you. The Pasadena Dobie Longhorns have outscored opponents 188-6.
Yeah.
If they would have shut out Friendswood last week, it would have been 188-0. That's an impressive defense. Now, granted, I get it. They played Ailey Felsick. I know they played Bel Air. And then I know they played Friendswood. So I know this is going to be their toughest test up to this point.
For sure.
This team is riding high, though, right now. And to outscore someone like they've outscored people, I'm going to go the Dobie Longhorns. Hook 'em horns from Dobie. They go down there. They beat Dickinson for the signature early win of the season to go to 4-0.
I respect it.
Great game.
So last game, this is a fun one. Coach Williams will know this opponent. The Huntsville Hornets are making their way to Houston, Texas to take on C.E. King, which is coming off a 2-point victory over Ridgepoint. C.E. King trying to go undefeated. Huntsville's 2-0 on the season. And I know Coach Williams has game planned for these Hornets before. So we'll let you start with Huntsville takes on C.E. King at their place at Sheldon ISD Stadium.
That's going to be an impressive game. I might be at that game. But, the way CeeDee King is playing these days, the way their running game is going, I'm looking for CeeDee King in that one. Huntsville has officially played some very, very strong defense, and I believe they're still playing some pretty good defense. But I'm going to give that one to CeeDee King. Great win over Rich Point last week. I picked Rich Point like Sean did to win, and CeeDee King pulled that one out last week, and it was an impressive win. It was a close win, came down to the end, and I just think CeeDee King is playing some very good football right now. Guys have some confidence going, beating some good teams. We'll go ahead and we'll pick CeeDee King over Hunter.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Coach Williams on this. I think also that CeeDee King, coming off a big win versus Rich Point, I picked him wrong too. And I don't want to. So I try not to make the same mistakes twice. It's been known to happen, but a lot actually. But I'm gonna go with my gut on this one. I got CeeDee King. Not taking anything from Huntsville because I think they're a good football team. But I think they're riding. I think the Panthers are riding high, and I think they're going to take this one. So CeeDee King.
Yeah, I'm going to CeeDee King as well. I think, didn't Josh have some stat last week with the sacks that CeeDee King has gotten already this year, just the defense and the defensive front, and that Ridge Point win I thought was pretty impressive. Ridge Point's a heck of a team, a heck of an offense, and to hold them to 26 points I thought was actually pretty impressive. And so I like what just the role CeeDee King's on. That defense is legitimate. Huntsville's one of the top teams in the region pretty much year in and year out, but I think this is going to be a great, great game, and I think it's going to be a great test for both teams, but I'm going to go CeeDee King.
Yeah, CeeDee King's running back, Gerald Wembley, has, in 3 games, already hit 627 yards. He's averaging 10.6 yards per carry, and he's averaging 209 yards per game and 7 touchdowns. That's their top running back. Their guy behind him has got almost 400 yards, and he's averaging 10 yards per game. When you have 2 running backs who are averaging 10 yards, almost 11 yards per carry, that's pretty good ground and pound football.
Yeah, you got to do it online. That's what that means.
Yeah.
You got it. The big boys up front are pushing.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Golly, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So you talk about run game. CeeDee King's got a run game right now. So I don't know if defenses are going to start loading the box against them or what. But I'm going to go CeeDee King. It's a huge win against Ridge Point last week. I think that was a big test for them. They come out, win that game, like Dennis says, to hold Ridge Point, which had really put some points up to just 26 points last week was pretty big. I'm going to go CeeDee King. I think they're 4-0 going in the district. It's going to be this is a really fun district. 21-6A is really fun. You got CeeDee King playing really well. Summer Creek is playing really well. Atascocita is playing really well. Beaumont Westbrook's playing really well. I mean, who wants that district schedule right now?
You're right. I'm very impressed with Summer Creek. Those guys, Kenny's doing a great job over there as well. And they may feel a little pressure this year. They really wanted to get to the playoffs. I think it's year 4 for Kenny over there, and they're doing a great job so far.
Yeah, they're rolling. North Shore, of course, they're coming off. They're going to lick their wounds after that loss last week. But, yeah, I'm going to go with CeeDee King. I think the Panthers continue to roll, and then it's going to be a really fun District 21-6A when these undefeated teams start clashing against each other here in the next 2 weeks. So that'll be a lot of fun. So that'll do it for our pick'ems. We've gone through all of the 5 games. Coaches, any final parting thoughts before we close out another edition of the Coaches Corner?
Well, hopefully when this airs, we've already got all the stuff passed. So I hope everybody's safe.
Yes.
And no big thing happened to us. We've had enough experience of this, but it's never fun and easy to go through it. So, hopefully it doesn't get too bad for anybody in the viewing area.
Absolutely. You guys stay safe, keep your family safe. And like Sean said earlier, there's more important things. And we'll get back to the football when it's time to get to football. But let's be safe the next couple of days and come back and do it again next week.
Yeah, so everybody get to the stores. Hopefully by the time you see this, you've gone to the store already and gotten your supplies. Be very conscientious to other people when you get your supplies. You do not need 26 rolls of toilet paper to get through 2 days of some rain. So please be conscientious to your neighbors and don't stockpile toilet paper. Dennis Silva II, I'm talking to you.
Can't ever have enough toilet paper.
Can't ever have enough. That'll put a wrap on this week's edition of the Coach's Show. Be sure to tune in every single Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Big thanks to our annual guest, Coach James Williams of those Fort Bend Marshall Buffs, and Sean McDowell of those Foster Falcons, Dennis Silva II, and Joshua Koch here for VYPE Media. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you back here next week on VYPE.